Hi there. I'm coming to you today with a chipped tooth and not feeling at all like recording, but this is a really important topic and I think we really need to talk about it. So I'm going to overcome my self-consciousness and give you information that you need to know. There's a measles outbreak going on and you need to know the facts. So what you need to know is that measles is a highly contagious virus. It is one that 90% of susceptible individuals will catch if you're exposed. And exposure doesn't have to be close contact, meaning you can just be in a room or pass by someone. It's either respiratory or you can actually catch it through mucous membranes, meaning your eyes can catch it too, which is totally trippy. But it doesn't have to be close contact like you would think with tuberculosis or other infections that we've talked about before. And when I talk about susceptible individuals, I talk about babies who are less than a year old, adults, or anybody who hasn't been vaccinated with an MMR vaccine, or immunocompromised individuals like people with autoimmune diseases or on medications for those things, diabetes, people who are elderly or on chemotherapy. Symptoms of measles can be really similar to other respiratory viruses: fever, cough, malaise, runny nose. Bonus is pink eye, which is fantastic to go along with it. And then people break out in a rash. We call it cough, coryza, conjunctivitis, the 3 C's, and that's how doctors kind of identify it. But then that telltale rash shows up, and usually symptoms start to resolve about 48 hours after the rash shows up. It really comes in 3 stages. The prodrome, which is a few days of malaise and fatigue and just kind of feeling off. Then there's the next phase, which is the enanthem, and that is where people get what we call Koplik spots. They are little spots on the inside of your cheeks, anywhere in your mouth, and they look like a grain of salt on a red background. And so those are a telltale sign that you're coming down with measles. Incubation period is 6 to 21 days. So if you've been exposed, people will say, go get a measles vaccine because you still have time to give your immune system a boost before you get sick. After the enanthem phase comes the exanthem phase. So in between the showing up of the Koplik spots, then people develop the fever, the sore throat, and the cough, and the pink eye, and all of the other symptoms we see. Then the exanthem is the rash. Usually starts up top at the head and then works its way down, is the hallmark of the measles rash, down the torso and down the extremities. Usually spares the palms of the hands and the soles of the feet. As I mentioned earlier, the symptoms start improving generally about 48 hours after the rash starts to develop. The rash lasts 6 to 7 days, and then most people, their skin peels off kind of like they've had a sunburn. So it seems alarming, but that's just that dead skin sloughing off. The cough can persist for 2 weeks afterwards. And these are the best case scenarios here. This is the person who has an uncomplicated course of measles, and we don't have medicine for it. I repeat, we do not have medicine for measles for the vast majority of people who get sick. For people who are in the hospital, on a ventilator, there is an antiviral called ribavirin that can be used, but it is not specific to measles. And so it's just like they're throwing something at it to see if it can help. So we do not have medicine for the measles, which is why prevention is so important. The only thing that we have to help keep people from getting sick is vaccinations. So if you don't know if you've had an MMR, you can actually go get tested to see if you have immunoglobulins to measles. If you had one but don't know if you had the second one as a child, or if your mom didn't hang on to your immunization records or whatever, you could go to your health department or your pharmacy and get an MMR booster. Most people don't need this. If they are immunized, they have a very, very, very slim chance of getting the measles. So most of us are probably safe. And the people who have been hospitalized so far, the large percentage of those are people who are unvaccinated. If you have potentially been exposed, it's not too late. You can go get vaccinated and potentially prevent or significantly lessen the severity of your illness. My next segment, I'm going to talk about complications of measles, which is not going to be at all a fun talk, but it's important to listen to. And it's just a very timely, important topic that we must talk about.